I'm Bruce Apar, and you're watching Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog. Yeah, it's something else, that I'm looking at that occurs. Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog. I'm Bruce Apar. Frank J. Rich, my co-host, cannot be with us for this show, but he will be back as soon as he can. And we always like to tell you at the beginning, of course, what makes this possible is the Penny Saver and our parent company, Chase Media Group, which publishes the Penny Saver and does a lot of other things. You could always just call us up to find out more about that. And Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog is a community affairs weekly show that you can see obviously on this channel, and you can also go to YouTube, and if you just search for either Town Link TV or NCN Local TV on YouTube, you'll see all the past shows that we put up on YouTube that you can watch anytime, on demand, as they like to say. And the show is always about things in our community that you may know about, and a lot of things maybe that you're not aware of that we want to let you know about. Your neighbors, people in the community who are doing interesting things, and in some cases maybe they're even role models for other people like you, and just adding to the quality of life of the community, and letting us know and letting the world know, all the positive things that we should be doing, could be doing, and are doing. Speaking of which, our guest today is Maureen Winzig. Maureen, welcome. Yeah.
Hi.
Right. And you know something? You win the award for having the shortest commute from where you live to this studio, which is, of course, the Cablevision Peekskill Studios, because you're just down the block on Brown Street.
That's right.
Virtually next to the Paramount, at the Paramount East building.
Literally.
Which, as you said, is the old Masonic Lodge.
Yes.
My dad was a Mason, so I'm familiar with the Masons. Yeah, it's a beautiful building, historic
Gorgeous,
building,
yeah.
and which has artistic merit, right, in its own right.
Yes, it does.
So, Maureen, you have been practicing your craft or your art for how long? As a painter, oil painter, right?
Well, as an oil painter, about 15 years.
Okay. And
I started with acrylic and drawing, pencil, marker.
And are you self-taught?
I've gone to school for, at Pace University for,
Right.
Design, and SUNY for oil painting and web design and graphic art, all of it.
Which is SUNY?
Oh, right here in Peekskill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's right. The
WCC.
Which specializes in digital, right,
Graphic
media
art,
and graphic arts. And,
Yeah, but they also had some excellent teachers teaching painting.
Right.
And Andrew Lattimore, who's, locally very famous portrait artist. I studied with him briefly.
Right. And so now you recently actually moved to basically your studio or your loft space, but you had been living in Putnam Valley.
Yes.
You said until just December of last year. So what was the reason for your move? I mean, I know it sounds like maybe a silly question. Obviously, a lot of people, if not everybody or most everybody, wouldn't mind working where they live and live
Right.
where they work, and so was that the main reason you just wanted to be in the same space as your work?
Well, I don't know what possessed me, but I got online to see what live-work lofts were available, because I do a lot of work on the computer with different organizations that I'm with, and hours go by and then I lose the desire to drive to my studio. So
no, I can understand that.
Yeah, so I had a beautiful space on North Division Street. It was just beautiful. It was on Restaurant Row, as I like to call it.
Sure, yes, right.
But
which keeps getting more restaurants.
Yeah, yeah. You won't go hungry if you got a few bucks on Restaurant Row.
Right.
So I found this place and I called the realtor. She showed it to me, and I was like, I don't know if I can afford this. But it just kept haunting me. It's perfect. My studio's on the first floor. People walk in and out for business all day long.
Right.
For a dentist, you get a massage, you can get a facial, and insurance people are all in that building, and they have to walk
Where
by.
you are currently?
Yes.
Yeah, which is what, the Paramount East it's called? Is
yeah,
that,
yeah, 1016 Brown
Right.
Street.
Right.
You know, just look for the lions, I
Right,
say.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, like the public library.
Right. So people walk by, and I leave my door open while I'm painting with some music, and they stop in, and it's fantastic. I love people.
Right.
So, and I teach in there, and I just have a great time.
Yeah. And when you say that you love people, which is readily apparent just as soon as anybody meets you, that you like painting people.
I do.
And in your website, which is really a very, it's an interesting website, but it's also very easy to navigate and browse like you're in a store, or maybe
Thank you.
like somebody would be in your studio. So yeah, so nice job on that. And I was really taken, I mean, a lot of things, which I have the website up right now on the tablet. I mean, I would tell you which brand it is if they were, paying, but this is not, we're not allowed to do advertising, so it's a tablet. You can figure it out for yourself. So you do landscapes and flowers and expressionist painting, and but one of the things that really caught my eye, maybe because I'm a culture vulture, is the portraits of celebrities.
Yeah.
Like you have Bogart and Marilyn Monroe and Garbo, right, and Billie Holiday. So did you paint those from just from photos that you liked of them?
Yeah. I'm very particular about going to different photo books. I love to have a great book. If you go to the Bruised Apple, you can get some fabulous books. And but I do sometimes go online, and I adapt. A lot of the stuff that I find is in color,
Right.
and I'll make it in black and white, or vice versa.
And why is that? Why would you convert color to black and white?
Well, first of all, there's this thing called plagiarism.
Well, so you're saying if you just change it to black and white, it's not, there's no copyright
There actually has to be
infringement?
6 degrees of separation from
Right.
somebody's original
and
work.
actually, it's funny you say that because so you have this whole issue of intellectual property
Right.
that now is more prominent and profound than ever because of digital media. Makes it easy for anybody to take anybody else's work and
That's right.
pretty much redistribute it, do what they want with it. So I know from doing some research myself, just for my day job, my full-time job, doing content management, that what you're saying is, and this is the way it's written in terms of some legal aspects, as long as you're either adding value to the original work or content or modifying it in some way.
Right.
So I guess that's what your point is.
Yeah, I make
Then
it
it's
my
not copyright
own.
infringement.
Right. So I make it my own, and stylized, like your response.
Right.
I stylize.
Stylized, yeah.
So
And so those particular celebrities you just happen to like or be fond of, or
those particular, the pen and ink ones you might be referring to. They were done for a book. I was hired to illustrate
Okay.
a movie star book
Oh.
with inspirational quotes for movie stars,
oh, okay.
up and coming
Right.
movie stars.
So in that case, you didn't necessarily create those to sell, maybe, right?
No,
Yeah.
it was for that
Right.
project.
But you have a lot of work that you
Yeah.
you will sell.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like you saw Billie Holiday, B.B. King, and that painted series. Those are
Right.
in my studio, ready for sale.
Right. No, I love those. Johnny Cash was another one.
Yeah.
President Obama, right? Yeah. So, and speaking of the art market and art buyers, we have a painting, right, that you were kind enough to bring to the studio so we could put it on live. It's here in 3D. And so why don't you just describe what you painted here?
Well, I absolutely love the Hudson River. And it's been said that the way the light refracts off of the water actually creates a unique light in the air in all the surrounding area.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And this is outside of a restaurant in Ossining called the Boathouse.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I know the Boathouse
I
well.
love
Yeah,
that
so do I.
place.
Yeah, my wife and I love going there.
Yeah.
Beautiful setting and good food.
Right. And I went out, back, and this scene was happening.
Oh, yeah.
I'll stand and take something in for as long as I can. And I take a photograph, bring it home. Then I work off of my computer because the backlighting on the screen is as close to natural light as opposed to a printed out piece of paper.
Right.
And I I take great care in making things as true to the lighting and the color as I can get.
Yeah, no, and you really do get a sense. I mean, now I'm sitting here looking at it in the studio. Of course, it may not translate quite as well to people watching at home. It never does. But you're right. The light, the light in the sky, has a very realistic quality to it.
Thank you.
Yeah, just the way, like you're saying, it refracts. And by the way, just as far as news scoops go in the dining category, I just met this gentleman, Scott Ryan, at a, actually it was an Austin Chamber of Commerce mixer the other night. And he's involved in a new restaurant that's going to go right in that area.
Oh.
It's what's popular now is a brewery-themed restaurant.
Yes.
Yeah, so he told me they're going to be opening later this year or next year. We always love to hear about new businesses coming in.
Absolutely.
And Maureen, you also, in a video I was watching that you did on YouTube for the Open Studios annual weekend tour, let's call it, of Peekskill Arts, Peekskill artists and art studios. You mentioned how you really enjoy, especially now that you're living here, being amongst a community of artists, and of course Peekskill is well known as an art community.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask you about that, because I was really fascinated when you said, you have people living next to you like a jazz singer, a magician, right?
Right.
And people like that. So what is the camaraderie like among all of you? I mean, is there a natural affinity to gravitate towards each other?
Well, yeah, I think the beauty of the creation of the art community, where there's a zoning law that says only artists can live in the rental.
In the lofts?
Yeah.
Is it the loft space? Or?
Any rental property within this particular artist district.
Only artists can live there, as opposed to doing business. Yeah.
Well,
other people can just use it for business purposes.
If it's rental, yeah, the live workspaces are just for artists.
Okay.
That's changing a little bit with the times, but with that said and with that in place, all of us are within walking distance of each other. So it's fantastic. I mean, I was working on something, and a friend of mine, Cindy, who works with copper and different chemicals that create these patinas, it's brilliant work. She just knocks on my door and comes over, and it's great. She's in her work clothes, so I don't feel bad. I'm in my work clothes,
Right.
We meet at the coffee shop
Right.
and come up with ideas. I'm within walking distance of Wendy Garber's Flatiron Gallery.
Right.
And that's filled with artist studios. I can go up and see what they're doing,
Right.
the Brown Street studios. And the coffee house, I must say, is a great meeting place.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, it's just something right out of Greenwich Village, right? The legacy of Greenwich Village is artists meeting in coffee houses. Or of course, another great place is Amsterdam, when you're talking coffee houses.
Right, and Paris.
In Paris, yes, right.
Yeah, so I'm very excited about being here, but we need to come out, because artists do tend to cloister themselves in.
Right, yes.
Because you need to stay in a particular zone to stay focused
mentally.
on something. Yeah. Like that painting probably took me about four sittings of hours at a time, just layer upon layer. And you don't want to be interrupted. But I'm a little weird. I make hours for that, and then I make hours that my door is absolutely open, and people come in, they walk around, they buy stuff, and it's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I would think that, not to stereotype, but I would think that if you weren't a little weird, then you're not allowed to be an artist.
Right.
No, I mean, it's true.
Mandatory, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I have a little bit of that impulse in my blood too, so I know exactly what you're talking about with that. And I think a lot of people who maybe don't know an artist personally, or don't have one in their family, let's say, or wonder how hard is it, or a better way to put it is, what are the challenges? Like some of the people you just mentioned, this woman works in copper, but what are the real day-to-day challenges of sustaining yourself? I mean, because it's not just creating it, it's marketing it, selling it, right? It's, as we call it, closing the sale. So, I mean, all these people are able to manage that and to obviously stay stay vital and solvent, right?
Yeah, everybody has their own, way to supplement if they're not just constantly selling their work. And some people are very fortunate to do that. But, you have to get creative. You have to take your creativity and your art and expand that out. Some people teach. Some people are hooked up with different libraries that have shows. Some people have day jobs. And some people own a little tiny bit of real estate that they rent out. Nothing.
Real estate is always a good investment, right? Just about always.
And but you have a huge challenge is you have to market yourself.
Yes, exactly.
You have to talk about yourself. Me, I do everything free on all. I've got a list of about 20 free online event calendars.
Right.
So I have to take a picture of my work and post it on, the Patch, Channel 12.
Yes, right. So, let everybody know.
News.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
It's a lot of copy paste,
Right.
and but I have to find an attractive picture of myself. I have to find which isn't as easy. It's
Somebody
horrible.
might think, right.
It's just
Well, but also, I mean, I'm sure as an artist with obviously an extremely trained eye. I mean, isn't it true that we don't see ourselves as other people see us? I mean,
that's right, and thank God for Photoshop. Oh, I could take off 20 pounds like that. And, and for myself, I create different shows and different events. Like I just had a show called Sunsets and Flowers for Valentine's Day, thinking, what could be more romantic,
sense,
right? I made some very small, beautifully framed little pieces and had a show and advertised and sent out. It's a huge amount of work with Constant Contact or MailChimp and emailing and oh my God.
Yeah, no, it is. It is a lot. I mean, it's funny because at the same time, technology has made all of these things more readily available and automated, but it does take a certain mastery of the mechanics of doing it and the technique. It's true. It's well, let's talk a little bit, Maureen, about Open Studios and the fact that you were chair of the Peekskill Arts Alliance. Now you're president, right? And that's the sponsoring organization along with the city of Peekskill. Is that correct? Or,
no, we're an independent art group.
Right.
And we work with the city of Peekskill to try to coordinate things.
But for Open Studios, the Arts Alliance, isn't that involved in Open Studios or no?
Yes.
Oh, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
That it sort of helps coordinate that. Every year.
Yes.
And you mentioned that June 1 and 2 of 2013 is when it's going to take place this year. And for people who aren't aware, and I'm sure there are a lot of people watching who may not be aware of Open Studios, basically, right, it's just an opportunity to open your doors to the public and let them walk through and see what you got.
Oh, it's a big deal.
Right.
And I'll let the cat out of the bag that what you see when you go to Open Studios is not what you would see the week before, because our places are always a mess, and there's a lot of stuff going on all the time. You walk into my place when my doors are closed to the public. I've got tools and canvases and wires and stuff every place, supplies. So we tidy it up, and like I call myself a studio and showcase because I hang things beautifully all the time, but. So the artists they might even create something just for the event, have some artwork out.
Right.
A lot of people do have something in process that they're working on, which is the best.
Yeah, no, that right. So you see, as you say, the process of creating art.
Yeah. And there's over. We have to count. I think there's somewhere around 80 studios within. The area of Open Studios that you can walk to. And last year we had the trolley for both days, and we'd take a tour from Hudson Valley Center for Contemporary Art, which is fabulous. And it's just an extraordinary museum. You have to go there. Yeah. Down to the riverfront.
Oh, no, I've been there. That is an excellent museum right on Main Street. Yeah.
Yeah, and Livia Strauss has been incorporating lots of local artists lately. She has her own art group there that a lot of young, incredible emerging artists are coming.
Right.
And then there's the Hat Factory, of course.
Yes, right.
And that's such a great place. There's clay studios. There's all kinds of work that goes on there.
Right.
And But the downtown artists, you know, you gotta walk up a few stairs, but it's really, really worth it. Except for mine, I'm on the first floor this year.
So you don't have to walk up any stairs.
So excited about that.
Right. And, you know, what's interesting, too, is what's coming on strong. We mentioned that, of course, Peekskill has a great reputation as an artist community. What's coming on very strong to the north is Beacon.
Yeah.
Have you been to Beacon?
Oh, yeah.
Of course, you have the very commercial, in a sense, DIA, Beacon art space, which is, the structure itself is amazing when you walk in. It's an old, I think, a Nabisco packaging factory.
Company in the past.
But the sheer scale of that interior space is actually awesome. I mean, you're just not used to seeing buildings like that.
Yeah.
So they could do a lot of things nobody else can do.
Right.
But then you go, of course, on Main Street in Beacon, and there's a lot of art galleries, right? So do you visit there? Or?
Yes, I do. And as a matter of fact, that whole resurgence from Beacon has to do with a couple of entities. And one is the DIA, of course.
Yeah.
But also there's this one instrumental woman, Linda Hubbard, and she owns the River Winds Gallery up there.
Okay.
Her and I think one other entrepreneur, business owner, a tea house next door, decided to try and bring artists in.
Yes. Right.
So Linda formed the Art Along the Hudson organization.
Sure. Oh, yeah, no, I'm familiar. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And Peekskill is on that map as well. You know,
Right.
there are 10 different communities from, I think, Hudson, Kingston, New Paltz, Woodstock,
Right.
all the way down to Peekskill. And Ossining Arts Council is an amazing arts council.
Yes, they do a very good job.
I was a secretary there for 2 years, and it was a privilege and an honor, really.
Right.
And they have their own space now. They have an
Right.
art center. But the revitalization of Beacon, you know, comes from not only something huge being there, that's a big attraction, a lot like our Hudson Valley Center for Contemporary Art.
Right.
But it's community-minded people.
Yes, very much so. Yes.
Yes.
Right.
So I love to go to the Art Along the Hudson meetings. You know, you had a big round table with the people that represent their whole city as far as art is concerned.
Right.
And they are promoting quite actively art along the whole Hudson. So I personally like to think of being a part of a whole, of something really, really cool.
No, you're right. I mean,
Yeah.
it really does create a sort of a chain or a continuity
Yeah.
along the river. And there are, not surprisingly, similarities between Beacon and Peekskill. I mean, like they have the Beacon Theater there, you know, and the whole artist community, and they also have, at the other end of town, you know, so like coffee houses and more art galleries. The Roundhouse, you know, the Roundhouse at Beacon that they're developing, it's now a hotel and a spa, and there's a restaurant there, and it's right on this stream, and they have a waterfall, so it's a very striking setting. Also, I was interested when I looked at your website, Maureen, that you have a gift shop with your artwork, right? Emblazoned on T-shirts and things like that.
Yeah.
And so that's only online that people can buy?
That's only online.
Right.
Actually, I have a few samples of that in my shop because, you know, it costs money.
Yeah, to do that, well, that was one of the things that occurred to me is you had to go out and, you know, have them manufactured.
Right. But I have to promote that a little bit more and update it. And but it is really fun to have, you know, like an apron with Woman on Fire. I figured, you know, what will I represent for each item? If I have an apron I'm showing in my studio,
right.
Let's put some fire on it for out in the barbecue, right? And I have a beautiful cherry wood. It's like a jewelry box, and it's square. So on the tile is one of my square pieces. So, but you can pick and choose whichever piece of art you want on whatever item, a T-shirt or.
So it could be anything, and then you'll create it. You'll make it. Yeah. And then you also offer classes in oil painting, right?
Yes.
You do that at your studio?
Yes, I do.
Right.
I do. It's great. I love teaching, and people really seem to, you know, take to my style because, you know, if you've got the gumption to buy the materials and show up,
right,
and have that kind of enthusiasm, then there's something in you that
Yes.
that can be translated. Everybody, I find the artist in you, when you come
Right.
to my art studio.
Right.
So
So you're doing that now? You have a class currently going? Or?
I
No?
just finished up one, and I actually am looking for, I have 2 interested parties, and I'd like to have about 5 people, no more than
Right.
5.
5, okay.
Yeah.
With like athletes, or even or certainly performers, athletes and performers, no matter how famous they are or accomplished or how many awards they've won and how long they've been practicing their craft, they're always going back to become retrained. Tiger Woods constantly is trying to fix things and improve what he does, and the same with singers, always going back to train themselves. I mean, do you do that? I mean, you give classes. So my question is, do you yourself, go to just stay current with everything that's going on in your world?
Well, I do. I try to find, new techniques, what's
Right.
going on. There's always some kind of product that's going to make everything fabulous. But, I've had quite a few great teachers, and the best teacher is continuing to paint. And, I push my comfort zone, things that are not so easy for me. And, and I'll try to hone that a little more. Like a lot of people say that water and sky are really hard. I absolutely love it, but it is hard.
Right.
It is hard, and you just have to believe that you can do it, and focus and get calm, and and really allow yourself. I'm more of like a conduit to something else. I don't know.
Right. No, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
but I will try and study and keep up on the new trends as well.
Right. And then what else do you like to do? What are your other passions? That may be related to art, but not specifically artistic.
Well, I have some, a kooky thing that I do. I'm really into the environment.
Okay.
And trying to, lessen my footprint. And one thing is, I've always liked the shape of light bulbs.
Yeah.
And light bulbs go in the trash all the time. So I repurpose them, and I make these hanging ornaments.
Oh,
And
okay.
and I also make jewelry that I sell. That really fun pieces at my studio. But enough of my studio. But I like nature. I like going up and down, traveling. I'm a scuba diver.
Oh, okay. All right. See.
Which is wow.
Did you ever paint any underwater scenes? Or?
No, there's a lot of people. You go down to the Florida Keys and a lot of these vacation places, and it's like, wow, there's enough of this. All right.
Yeah, well, that's true too. Yeah.
I'd like to try it, but the colors can be really garish. That are almost unbelievable.
Oh, I know. Well, by the way, a beautiful place, and then we have to actually wrap it up. But Belize, we went to Belize.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be a year and a half ago, and it's the largest. It's the largest barrier reef outside of the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. But anyhow, we went, we didn't go scuba. We went snorkeling. But yeah, it's just things that you never see above water. That's for sure.
Right, right.
Things like that. So, well, thanks a lot, Maureen, for being here, and it's been very informative and enjoyable. And good luck with your art. And it's WinzigArt Studio, right?
WinzigArt.
On Brown Street.
Right.
In Peekskill at Paramount East. And well, we look forward to open studios in a few months, and
It's going to
we'll
be
see
fabulous.
you again there.
Yeah.
All right, thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, you bet. And thank you for watching Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog. And remember, when Bruce the Blog listens, people talk. Thanks.
That's a great line.